All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to crack open the essential toolkit that every manager needs to make smarter, more profitable decisions. We are going to demystify managerial economics and show you how it's basically a map for navigating the super complex world of business.
Okay, so to get us started, let's frame this whole thing around a classic business problem. A dilemma that pretty much every single manager or entrepreneur runs into at some point.
So, picture this. Your team has been grinding for months, maybe even years, to create this incredible new product. It's innovative, it's cool, and now it's ready for the world. But there's this one huge question just hanging in the air. What on earth do you charge for it?
Think about it. If you set the price too high, you might scare everyone off. But if you go too low, you could be leaving a ton of money on the table. Or worse, actually losing money on every single sale. This whole balancing act, it's a textbook example of what economics is all about. Figuring out how to manage limited resources, like your production budget and your customers' wallets, to get what we want.
So, how in the world do you solve this puzzle? Well, the answer lies in this really practical, really powerful field that basically builds a bridge from abstract theory to the real-world challenges you face every day.
And here's the formal definition, which honestly is kind of perfect. Managerial economics isn't just about dusty old graphs and theories. No, it's about taking those powerful economic ideas and putting them to work, using them to make better decisions and to plan for the future. It's your strategic toolkit.
You often hear this question, is economics a science or an art? Well, what's so cool is that for a manager, it's a powerful mix of both. It's a science because you're using data, you're doing analysis to see what is happening, but it's also an art because it takes your judgment and your experience to look at that data and decide what should be, how to turn those principles into a winning strategy.
Okay, so let's pop open this toolkit and look at the very first, most fundamental tool you've got, understanding your customer. And this all starts with one huge concept, demand. This is the bedrock principle, right? It's super intuitive. All other things being equal, the more something costs, the less people will buy. And of course, the cheaper it is, the more they'll snap it up. It seems simple, but this idea has massive implications for that pricing dilemma we talked about. And this is what that idea looks like in action. On a graph like this, price is going up and down, and the amount people want to buy is going left to right. See how the curve slopes down? That's it. As you move up to a higher price, you have to move left to a smaller quantity. That downward slope is the visual signature of the law of demand.
Okay, but here's the real million-dollar question. It's not enough to just know that demand will drop if you raise the price. You need to know by how much. Is it going to be a tiny little dip, or is it going to be a complete disaster? This brings us to a really crucial concept. And that concept is elasticity. If your product has inelastic demand, think about something essential, like life-saving medicine. You can change the price a lot without sales falling off a cliff. But if it has elastic demand, say a can of soda with dozens of other brands right next to it, even a tiny price hike could send your customers running to the competition. A quick rule of thumb, just ask yourself, how many other choices do my customers have? The more substitutes, the more elastic the demand. Simple as that.
Okay, so we've looked at the customer side of the equation. But that's only half the story, right? What about your side of things, the producer's point of view? This is where the law of supply comes into play.
This is the other side of the coin. It's basically the mirror image of the law of demand. As a business, if people are willing to pay a higher price for your product, you have a massive incentive to make and sell more of it. Why? Because higher prices mean bigger potential profits.
Let's use gasoline as a perfect real-world example. When gas prices at the pump shoot way up, it sets off this huge chain reaction. It encourages companies to invest more in every single step of the process, from looking for new oil fields to drilling to building new refineries, all because the potential reward for getting more gas to the market is so much higher.
So we have these two powerful competing forces, right? You've got demand with customers pulling for lower prices, and you've got supply with producers pushing for higher prices. How does the market sort this all out?
This is where the magic happens. That exact point where the supply curve and the demand curve cross is called equilibrium. And it's not just some random point on a graph. It is the market's natural sweet spot. It's the one price where the amount that customers want to buy is exactly the same as the amount producers want to sell.
And there it is. This equilibrium point gives us what's called the market clearing price. It is the theoretical answer to that huge question we started with. It's the price that perfectly balances what buyers and sellers want, so there's no major shortage or surplus of the product.
But, and this is the final critical piece of the puzzle for any manager, this sweet spot isn't set in stone. The real world is messy. Things are always changing. A new competitor could pop up, people's incomes might rise, or a new trend could suddenly make your product super popular. Any of these things can shift the entire demand curve, and when that happens, the equilibrium price, that sweet spot, it moves. Your job is to constantly watch for these shifts and adjust your strategy.
So at the end of the day, managerial economics isn't about finding one single magic answer that lasts forever. It's about giving you a map and a compass. It gives you the tools, supply, demand, elasticity, equilibrium, to really understand the landscape your business is operating in. So as we wrap up, the real question is for you. Which part of your business map needs a closer look right now? I hope this has given you some great tools to find out. Thanks for tuning in.